You're me.
That's classified, but yes, I once was.
The Adam Project from Shawn Levy released onto Netflix today. This fun and simple story tries to simply entertain its audience. How well does it do at that? Let's get into it. Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and I have to admit, when I first saw the trailer for the Adam Project, I was intrigued. Such a stellar cast and the talent of Shawn Levy? What could possibly go wrong? This story manages to be fun, compelling, and entertaining while still asking deep questions, leaving the audience to ponder the complicated conundrums that it presents. At the very heart of the story is Adam, the film's lead, and his relationship with his parents. It tackles the issues of puberty and the angst that accompanies it, with how it relates to the love a young boy is capable of expressing to those he cares about. The film manages to balance this idea with the bombastic and over-the-top concepts of time travel and future technology, without ever forgetting the heart that is the true drive for the narrative. No matter the stakes or the action, heart is at the center of the story, and it uses its heart to propel some thought-provoking scenarios. All this combined creates a highly enjoyable, while still deeply compelling story that will leave the audience fulfilled and with smiles upon their faces. And spoilers ahead. This film follows a 12-year-old boy who is swept into a world of adventure when his future self arrives from the year 2050 with a mission to uncover a mystery that has left his time scarred and broken. Together, these two Adams are hunted by the leader of the future's time agency, while they seek to discover the truth behind the disappearance of Adam's future wife. They soon discover that the leader of this agency, Sororin, went back in time to reset the future in her image, and when Adam's wife discovered her crime, she was killed for the discovery. The Adams must now go back in time to destroy the invention of time travel to prevent Sororin from ever having the tools to pervert the future or murder their wife. With help of their long-dead father, the Adams infiltrate the lab in the past responsible for time travel, and against great odds, manage to eliminate the research and create a future free from perversion, and full of hope that Adam may have a happy life after all. Despite its simplicity, this film is jam-packed with great acting, compelling writing, and great special effects, leading towards a very engaging story. At the end of the day, this is a kids' movie and should be treated as such, but it excelled at being a good kids' movie that the whole family could enjoy. This film may be simple at first glance, but it is far from shallow. Following in the footsteps of Back to the Future, the Adam Project keeps its time travel rules simple, merely using it as a tool to explore intriguing character moments and ideas. The characters are the beating heart of the narrative. The chemistry shared by the Adams, Ryan Reynolds, and Walker Sobel especially shone out in incredible performances that mirrored each other in interesting ways that lent credence to the idea that these two are indeed one and the same, despite decades separating them. Additionally, the way both of the Adams develop different, yet intrinsically similar relationships show how fundamentally a grieving child without help can evolve into a bitter man that has dedicated his life to forgetting what he once was. Old Adam, Ryan Reynolds, portrayed a deep anger towards his father masked by his customary humor, and his arc perfectly telegraphed the evolution of a broken soul that must move past events that were beyond his control and were corrupted by hindsight, ignoring the mountains of good times that truly existed within them. Adam must realize that he loves his father, and his father loves him. This realization allows him to let go of his anger and move on to finally become his own man, unfettered by his pain. While showing the complexities of a father-son relationships, and the sins committed on both sides of this relationship, the film doesn't paint either party as in the wrong or bad for their actions. It does not condemn Mark Ruffalo's father character for his dedication to his work. In fact, the film goes out of its way to show how much of a good man and good father he truly is, revealing happy memories that Ryan's Adam had long since repressed. The reason this relationship and positive portrayal of a father was so refreshing is because Hollywood so often paints fathers in a bad light and uses them as wellsprings of trauma and nothing beyond that. This film shows the deep love a good man can hold for his son, and the masculinity that relationship can impart to the next generation. By doing so, the Adam Project sets itself apart from the rest of Hollywood, offering something new, yet so traditional and so craved to the audience that any who have been disappointed by Hollywood in recent years can find enjoyment in this tale. Besides the writing and the relationships, the CGI was mostly good and the set pieces were compelling. The action was fun and the pace was good, leaving you feeling far more fulfilled than you should after just an hour and 45 minutes. Now it's time to see if I was alone in my praise of this film. I find myself surprised that my opinion of the film is a bit of a marrying between both critics and audiences, falling somewhere in between the two of them. And without a political narrative, I can see why Adam Project is so low for the critics and the audience just really enjoy this fun film. There isn't an agenda to be built on or to beat the audience over the head with. So I think a lot of these initial reactions will be genuine, and that I really appreciate, and this may be one of the few movies that Rotten Tomatoes can accurately portray. But let's get into these reviews and see if there's anything in particular that stands out. Ryan Reynolds plays himself, so if you like him, you'll like this. Very much exactly that. The breakout, though, is Walter Scobell. Yes, the young Adam, he did an incredible job. The younger version of Adam had just enough Reynolds mannerisms in his speech and delivery that it was easy to suspend disbelief and believe in the interactions. Yeah, it was a lot of even subtle stuff the young Adam was able to pick on that Ryan would do, and it was just really good performance from such a young actor. Language is not super young viewers, otherwise great family night movie. There wasn't that much language, isn't it? I'm not sure what that's about, but I found myself mostly agreeing with this review. When have I seen, heard, smelled, tasted, and felt this before? The Adam Project is a great time waster with solid writing and excellent production. The problem with the Adam Project is that it relies way too much on tropes to deliver any kind of unique storytelling. Watching the Adam Project is like watching a zoom window with 8 counterparts and then somehow playing somewhere in time Return of the Jedi, WandaVision, The Last Starfighter, Terminator, MCU. I mean, you already mentioned WandaVision, Independence Day, and Quantum Leap at the same time. That is an interesting approach to the film. I wouldn't agree that it's like watching all those movies simultaneously, but or whatever. The visuals remind me of E.T., awesome movie, can't get enough of Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, it did kind of have that, even though it was set in the present, it did have this kind of almost classical feel to it. I don't know if that was just the color grading or there was something classic about it. I'm not sure what that was. This one's a tearjerker. The cinematography and acting is amazing, and it really makes you reflect on what life is all about. It's definitely higher than I would take it, but an interesting take. What is a movie supposed to be? A comedy should make you laugh, a sad story should make you cry, and a great action film should make you tense up, grab the arms of your seat, and a good story can make you feel good inside. Ryan Reynolds to the Adam Project does all of these. I would agree to a certain extent that it balances all those different genres per se or types of stories very well. Incredible entertaining performance. The chemistry, especially between the Adams and really just everyone, was really good. Nothing particularly to point out, just amazing fun sci-fi film. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with it, is there's not really a whole lot stand out about it, but it is a good film nonetheless. Best movie I've seen in a long time. I wouldn't go that far, but I do agree it's a lot better than the majority of stuff we get these days. If you're 8 to 12, you enjoy it. Overall, it looks that you already watched the movie before, and the plots are presumable with Deadpool talking jokes. I definitely wouldn't agree with that, but I can see why someone would take that perspective. The Adam Project is a fun movie packed with action that uses Ryan Reynolds' humor and skill in an appropriate way, although at times hugely scientifically inaccurate. Yeah, and that's the thing, it's not trying to be scientifically accurate. It really keeps its sci-fi rules very simple to more focus on the relationship between characters. And someone who values characters above all else, I really appreciated that. Huge improvement over the previous one and one of Netflix's best films. I would agree, it's definitely in the top tier of Netflix films. But it often becomes, let's see if the critics are more divisive than the audience. The Mary Sue, oh god. Every character is flawed, but is also trying to do better with their lives and for each other. And it is what makes the film so fascinating to watch. I actually very much agree with that. I agree with the Mary Sue. That's so weird. This is the kind of post-Goonies family-oriented that will play on Netflix, Stranger Things. Levy was involved, so they kind of can see why those two are similar and not so well in cinema. I don't know. Goonies is a good comparison, though, for it. It's a fairly entertaining flick for the whole family, thanks largely to Reynolds' performance and his chemistry with his young actor. It's featherweight fantasy with logic problems, but it's good, dumb fun. Yes, it's very much good, dumb fun when it comes to the action part of it and the science part of it, but the relationships and the acting, I think, make it a little bit better than just a normal dumb film. The Adam Project might lean a little too heavy on the zany charisma of its lead actor, and it gets a little lazy going for cheap laughs, but there's a fun story at the core of it, and I challenge you not to be moved by where the story goes. Yes, especially the finale, the last 10 minutes, they're a lot slower than the rest of the film had been, and it makes sense why it's so slow at the very end, and it really pulls at your heartstrings in those last few minutes. It does a very good job at doing that. Sure, it unfolds in a predictor and conventional manner, but it's still satisfying, most importantly, considering the current state of the world, a worthwhile diversion. Now, I don't agree with the bringing in the current state of the world deal. I would say the current state of Hollywood, it's a nice diversion, but overall, good comment. From the second you press play on Netflix, the film grabs you and doesn't let go. I would agree with that. An energetic, if uneven mashup of science fiction, adventure, and family drama. Aims for all the feels and only gets a few. Definitely lower than I would give it, but an interesting idea. Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy make another great movie together. When this time time travel entry isn't being cheap about mothers and sons, it has its adult and pre-adolescent heroes who are the same person, analyze one another's feelings. I mean, he says so little there and gives it such a low score that I'm not sure what he was trying to go for there. Labored and derivative and fairly witless family fantasy filled with lazy sci-fi action sequences and disastrously lacking in charm. I do not agree with that whatsoever. The charm was quite good, and it all stemmed from the chemistry between the characters. I don't know, a lot more negative on this side than the other one made you believe, the audience side of it believe. I'm just glad they're not going political in this. They're just trying to keep it a kids movie and talk about nostalgia. There's plenty to enjoy. Yeah, besides that one little comment about the current state of the world, not really anything stand out that makes them wrong in their opinions. Like, there's been some reviews where I'm like, wow, you just know you're wrong and don't care, but these may genuinely be their opinions, and I don't have a problem with them in these instances. But yeah, overall, some really interesting comments by a lot of different people, and generally seems to be well liked overall. I know it seems like I implicitly love this film, but there were some minor flaws that bear mentioning here. There was quite a bit of clunky exposition mashed with comedy, and a few lines that were quite cheesy, especially the final hug between the Adams and their dad. However, this moment was redeemed by the subsequent baseball scene, which was heartfelt and simple. There was also some shoddy scenes of bad CGI, especially some lackluster de-aging technology. Beyond that, the film's biggest issue came from too little Zoe Saldana, particularly because her relationship with Adam is his initial motivation to undertake this mission. But we see so little of this relationship that his motivation feels quite flat before his motivations are shifted towards more altruistic and heroic sources. More Zoe is always a good thing. Overall, none of these moments or issues detracted from my enjoyment or immersion in the film.
You knew how to get into my dad's garage. You knew how to close the fridge. You knew how to time my breathing. We have the same scar. And you're wearing my dad's watch.
Walker Scobell played young Ryan Reynolds to perfection, while still carving out a uniqueness to his character to distinguish between the two Adams. It appears that Walker studied Ryan's mannerisms and quirks, because there were even subtle choices that he made that reflected Ryan. He made the audience believe that he could be Ryan as a child. Without that, the whole film would have been broken, as their chemistry was the linchpin that kept the film together.
Alright, can we maybe slow down? There's no one even following us.
Don't look back. Look up.
Again, Zoe was in the movie too little for the audience to really get a grasp of her character or her relationships. Zoe was absolutely great with what she was given, but without more time with her, she came across as a little empty and shallow. There's not much more to say on her because I've already been talking about her more than she was actually in the movie.
Adam? Dad.
Dad.
Say what you want about Mark Ruffalo, but he's a good actor. Mark's character's moral compass and his love for his sons conflicted with each other throughout the film, creating an interesting conundrum for him to overcome, making the audience understand the war between father and scientist that was waging within him. For a man who values his brain so much, it was intriguing to see that brain go to war against his heart, and the film uses this battle to initially justify Adam's hate against his father, but later, it explores how he would always choose love, making Adam's hatred misplaced. Mark brought his A-game, melding perfectly with the chemistry that the two Adams already shared.
It's not great.
Find him.
Get ready to run.
The rest of the supporting cast had some good performances and some really empty ones. Arien was one of the weakest parts of the movie, not from acting or execution, but from writing. She was a generic villain used to further the plot, and not for much more. Jennifer Gardner's mother character was acted well, with compelling chemistry with her sons. However, there was so little of her that the writing didn't have much time to explore her, more than generic struggling single mom. The rest of the cast were empty cliches of mostly bullies that were what the film required, yet not exceptional beyond that.
That bullet went straight through. That's good. Pass.
Wait. Bullet? You were shot?
Yeah, no, actually, no. I was stabbed with a bullet. What do you think, you moron?
I'm the moron. You're the one who was shot.
Okay, that's it.
Ryan Reynolds is still very much Ryan Reynolds, not deviating from his customary performances at all. Despite the cliched nature of Ryan's acting in recent years, he still added an angry edge to this character not usually seen from Ryan. He might be nearly the same character that he always plays, but in this instance, it worked well for the film, making him a welcome addition to the cast. The Adam Project is exciting, compelling, and heartfelt, marrying the best parts of its themes with its concept. I'd have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Anon. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.